Ladies and gentlemen, today we have some absolutely massive breaking news. You see, just a couple hours ago, agents from President Trump's Department of Homeland Security actually raided the office of a sitting Democratic congressional representative. Take a look.
New York Congressman Jerry Nadler says agents from the Department of Homeland Security forcefully entered his congressional office and handcuffed a member of his staff. Video shows the encounter, which Nadler called heavy-handed tactics. The staffer was not arrested. DHS says law enforcement believed protesters were inside the office. A DHS spokesperson released a statement saying, quote, officers identified themselves and explained their intent to conduct a security check. However, one individual became verbally confrontational and physically blocked access to the office.
And so, folks, let's break down really what happened here. The anti-ICE protesters in question were seen trying to block ICE detention vehicles from transporting illegal aliens out of New York City, which prompted ICE to try to detain the protesters, at which point they allegedly fled into Representative Nadler's office and were given refuge. And so, folks, I want you all to take a look at how this office raid actually unfolded. But first, I want to say real quick that if you guys enjoy the daily news updates, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton. But okay, check this out.
No, she did not. That is not what happened.
That is not what happened. Okay?
What?
Hold on a second.
You got your contact information, right?
No, I'm going to give you time to speak to you.
Hey.
That's what I'm going to do.
We got you.
No.
I got you.
You're
okay.
I don't have to.
You're okay. You're okay. You're going to be okay.
I'm a federal officer. We're here checking on something. We have the right to check. I'm
Can
giving
I see
you.
a warrant?
I'm not resisting. Stop resisting. You harboring rioters in the office. So there's not a problem. Let's walk inside. Let's walk through.
Or what?
Let me see what's in here.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Once again, the radically progressive anti-American Democrats are doing everything they can to stick up for illegal aliens, this time by harboring anti-ICE protesters inside of the New York City office of Democratic Congressional Representative Gerald Nadler. They actually tried to hide a bunch of anti-ICE rioters inside of their office, then they lied about it, and they tried to physically prevent federal DHS officers from doing their jobs. Folks, as if we didn't already know this, the radical progressives are absolutely insane. It really is ironic because for 4 years during the Biden era, we had to listen to the Democrats go on and on about the rule of law as they weaponized the justice system to unjustly prosecute conservatives. But now that the shoe is on the other foot and President Trump is back in the White House, they don't really seem to care about the rule of law anymore, do they? Rules for thee, but not for me. That is the motto of the modern day progressives. But you know what? Check this out. Congressional Representative Gerald Nadler actually issued a written statement condemning the entire situation, of course. Take a look. President Trump and the Department of Homeland Security are sowing chaos in our communities, using intimidation tactics against both citizens and non-citizens in a reckless and dangerous manner. In the most recent and deeply troubling incident, DHS agents forcefully entered my congressional office and handcuffed a member of my staff. You hear that, folks? President Trump is sowing chaos in our communities, whatever the hell that means. But allowing 20 million illegal aliens to invade the country, then trying to physically impede ICE's deportation efforts, then aiding and abetting anti-ICE rioters, then physically assaulting DHS agents? Nope, none of that is chaos. Chaos is only when President Trump tries to make the country safe again, not when the Democrats are actively destroying the country. Ladies and gentlemen, this right here is pretty much the textbook definition of incompetent hypocrisy. Really, as if we didn't already know this, the Democrats' outrage over this raid exposes that they prioritize the interests of illegal alien invaders over the interests of everyday Americans. But I'll tell you what, this raid sends a very clear message. No one, not even Democratic congressional representatives, are above the law under President Trump's administration. The reality is, Democratic Congressional Representative Gerald Nadler's office invited a bunch of radically progressive rioters inside so that they could evade ICE, showing blatant and total disregard for federal authority. The very same authority that they weaponized against conservatives up until just around 5 months ago, keep in mind. So here's the truth. Now that President Trump is back in the White House, all of these anti-American antics are coming to an end. The days during which the radical progressives got to sell out the American people in favor of a bunch of illegal alien invaders have come to an end, and now these people are starting to get held accountable. President Trump has empowered ICE as well as the DHS to take care of business wherever that business may be, even if it's inside of the office of a Democratic congressional representative. And you know what? Here's the truth. This is exactly why we all elected President Trump. We can't have a healthy, functioning country if we allow all of these absolutely unhinged radical progressives to undermine the nation. In the recent 2024 election, the American people gave President Trump an absolutely overwhelming mandate to get rid of all of these illegal aliens. We all voted, very explicitly so, to get these people out of our country. And so what this raid does is serve as a crystal clear reminder to the Democrats: we support President Trump. We want all of these illegal aliens out of our country, and if you try to impede or undermine that process, we are going to have a serious issue. As many of you know, for the last 5 months, ever since President Trump stepped back into the White House, the Democrats have done every single thing they can to try to undermine President Trump's Democratic mandate. They've weaponized the federal courts, they've coached illegal aliens on how to avoid federal deportation officers, and now they're just harboring radically progressive rioters inside of their political offices. I'm not joking when I say this. If President Trump wasn't in the White House right now, the radically progressive Democrats would likely just be forcing American families to personally house and accommodate illegal alien gang members. We all know that's what they really want. So finally, after 4 years of complete and total anti-American chaos, these people are finally being shut down and held accountable. And you know what? Thank God for that, because hey, in my humble opinion, that is what it looks like to finally put America first. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap up, I do want to say real quick that we officially have a Morse News Twitter page as well as a Morse News Facebook page. So if you use either of those platforms, please go down below and drop a follow in order to get breaking news updates that relate to everything we talk about here in the YouTube videos. But everyone, that is going to be a wrap for today's video, so please go down below and drop a comment. Let me know what you think about all of this. Please like the video while you're down there, and like I said earlier, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton. Thank you all very much for tuning in today, and of course, as always, stay safe.